Comic Union Draw Jam for the Silver Age weekend of Indie Comic Team Up. Here you're going to find us stumbling our way through using Magma Studio, an online collaborative drawing app that allows us to work together even though we're spread across the globe. Right now we're working on our backdrop for this week's Silver Age Indie Comic Recap. And with us, we have AuthorBot. You want to give a brief introduction?
Sure. Hi. Thanks for having me. I'm glad I could make it and hang out with you guys. I draw Chaos Engine on Instagram, and I'm working on a new project based on Little Nemo.
That looks really cool, by the way.
Hey, thank you.
And Buckets of Size is here with us too. Kevin.
Hey, hello.
Hola, Kevin.
What's up, Kevin?
Yeah, I don't really know what to say. Yeah, I draw a lot of just random stuff.
Good sense of humor, lots of lowbrow stuff. The creator of Dairy at Buckets of Size.
Yeah, but
you might be a highbrow, lowbrow guy.
Highbrow, lowbrow.
I think for lowbrow, you're pretty highbrow.
You've got one of each.
There you go.
And then we also have Jink Beast.
I look confused all the time.
Jink Beast is here with us too.
Hello.
Hey, Jink Beast.
What's up?
Another wonderful comic maker that's with us.
Yeah, I don't really know what to say, so I just
That's okay. We're here to draw.
Yeah,
Robot Fun Monster is here too.
Hey, how are you? Did you want an intro?
If you have one to give,
No, I
we
just
can
draw.
do one for you.
I mostly draw just cartoons or comic strips, like not comic style. So,
Yeah, you do. And lately, you've had a lot of political stuff that's been
yes,
for you.
I just can't help it. Just the last 2 months or something.
Yeah, it's hard to look away, right? Then I'm Seahorsey, and I draw a couple things, Wiltworthy and Galact Opera, most of which gets posted to Instagram. So, all right, we're just going to have at it, I think, at this point, and start to rock it. I'm going to ink that parts of that center piece. Let's see how that turns out.
Nice. It's looking really good already.
Yeah,
Is there like a spray paint type of thing where you can do like lots of little dots?
There are yes and no. See, if you scroll down, they have them like with Magma Studio every week. There's new features, but what I'm noticing,
they're pro.
They're pro, yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, if you pay, this software each week gets better and better and more fancy, and new things start showing up. It's pretty crazy.
That's cool. It's cool that it's like in the browser. I spent some time looking for like, where's the app? Where's the freaking app? No, it's not like that. It's like browser based.
Yeah.
Let's see here.
Oops.
Well, how many pixels is that brush that you're using right now?
Seahorsey, you're asking me?
Yeah,
7 pixels, and I have the levels dialed way up and the weight cranked up right now, but I still haven't got it quite the way I want to make it go thick to thin. Last night I was having good luck.
Oh yeah, like how do you get it to do that?
Yeah, and so I have pen pressure. A lot of it, I think, depends on your different setups. Like John Osborne, who may pop in here shortly, I know he was having some difficulties sometimes with the pen pressure reading off of his tablet. And
yeah, it seems like it doesn't do the variable width.
Yeah, so I think it's your mileage may vary thing. And make sure if you're on the pencil tool, it doesn't vary as much as the brush tool does. The brush tool is way more sensitive, I think, no matter how I dial it in.
It's pretty thin.
So it's pretty fascinating, this ability to just kind of congregate and work on a project without getting our elbows in the way of one another.
Absolutely. Yeah. This is very, very, it feels very futuristic. Like we're living in the future right now.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Future is now.
So are we just drawing anything right now?
Yeah, we're free. Keep it kind of general audience so that
Got
we
it.
can just I don't have to hit the adult content button on YouTube because that limits our viewing audience. But other than that, yeah, just fill the space, and we'll generate a time lapse from this. And the goal is for it to look really cool.
I feel like I'm not much of a conversationalist right now because I'm figuring out these brushes. Like 20 seconds of silence will go by. I'm like, oh, nobody said anything. I'm staring at this brush.
Yeah, same.
Yeah, it's a whole skill I'm learning to be able to talk and draw, and because you work in solitude usually, you know, it's not a
Right.
deeply conversational thing. I am
Yeah.
finding,
Oh, go ahead.
I am finding the Zoom is so useful because the way this responds when like right now, I zoomed way in on my screen so that I can do this.
Yeah.
With such better control than when I'm trying to draw zoomed way out. And I experienced that a little bit with Clip Studio, which is what I use mostly. But here it's really pronounced. And so getting up close seems to have real benefit.
Yeah, I'm zooming zooming in and out as much as I'm actually drawing. It's like the same amount of time. Just pinch, zoom again. Okay, draw a little bit, zoom some more.
So what's everybody using for their drawing tool? Like I'm on right now I'm on a PC that I have a drawing screen hooked up to. It sounds like Authorbot, you might be on a mobile device.
Yeah, I'm using my finger on my phone, so we'll see how it turns out.
Holy cow.
I'm using my finger on a tablet.
I'm
So
using
you've got like a bit more size.
Yeah.
what, Cintiq Pro 13 tablet and a iMac.
All right, on.
I'm drawing on my Wacom tablet, but I didn't configure everything, so it still kind of feels like I'm using a mouse. But as far as like I shouldn't say it feels like I'm using a mouse. Like I feel like I'm using Microsoft Paint as far as like my tools and stuff.
It feels clunky still.
Yeah. It's a neat premise though, to be able to have everyone just kind of share a canvas like this.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was watching some Colores with my baby this morning. It's a show on PBS about New Mexican history. So they're like, oh, this is how we make the Illuminatias and stuff like that. So we were trying to like get the kid early exposed to that kind of thing. And now I've just got that on my mind. Like I want to draw Adobe Pueblos and stuff like that. But I wanted to make sure it was cool to draw whatever we wanted. Like, bot, that's not Silver Age. You're not helping. Like,
yeah, no, don't have to be in the Silver Age.
That's off-brand.
Put some bell bottoms on it.
There you go. There you go. Right at the bottom of the building. Then it's Silver Age.
Is this drawing suitable for general audience?
Looks good to me.
Robot Fun, how much time have you spent in the last month drawing that man's hair, like just over and over again? How much of your time is spent drawing his hair?
No, it's just well, if you really study what I do, it's like never matches. Because I don't use a pencil. I just draw it like, and you know, if I don't like the way it looks, I'll erase the line and just redraw it.
Yeah.
That is I was off and on doing some political drawings because it's hard not to, what we've been going through. But the thing that I started to realize was it was actually hard on me to sit and spend time with these people.
Mm-hmm.
I was drawing Mitch McConnell and people like that, and sitting there drawing them actually, got my blood pressure up, and I realized, man, well, I feel like it's my civic duty to be this. Does it stress you out to have to draw him? I mean, like, there's a feeling of like I want to punch the screen when I'm.
No, I mean, it's real. I really care more about the words actually, but no, I know what you mean. Sometimes I'm too upset that I can't even write or draw.
Yeah, it gets you into this feedback loop of rage or just fear, even too.
I think that's why I like drawing like general political ideas rather than figures. Like, I'm not going to be as mad if I'm drawing something about censorship than I am drawing like Mitch McConnell or something like that. Like, it's not as direct, you know?
Yeah. It definitely has a shelf life, I guess, a little bit too.
Oh, yeah,
that's true too.
Because there's that sense of.
I hope so. Yeah.
yeah, we don't want to see. Yeah.
And I have to start working on the other guys. So McConnell isn't that hard. I just tried one sketch of McConnell, Cruz, and Graham. Graham was really hard for me. So.
Oh yeah.
Ted Cruz kind of has that like Ra's al Ghul like beard going on now. Like have you noticed that?
Well, is he gonna wear that? Once he's in session and everything.
Yeah, I guess he's lending himself to parody already with that. Jinkbeast, I like that crocodile you got going on down there.
Thanks. I'm really concentrated. It's hard to draw with my finger.
Yeah, I'm feeling the same. I'm right there with you.
Yeah, I already don't have a lot of experience with digital drawing, but with the finger, it's been hard.
Do you normally draw your comics like on paper and scan them in or something like that?
Yeah, I draw on paper every time, and then like I scan it and Photoshop it a little bit.
I mean, you do the color by manual hand?
Yeah, I use alcohol-based markers.
Wow.
Yeah, I love them. I love using those.
Yeah, my whole family is attached to the Copic markers. I can't keep them in my workspace because they go all through the house as people are doing projects. They're good stuff.
Yeah. I use the cheap ones because I don't have money for the Copics, but still.
Oh yeah, I should say the majority of my collection is the same, like that.
I went into an art store one time when I first started drawing, looking for Copics, and the guy that owned the art store like got pretty upset, and he's like, "They're way too expensive for what they do, and there's generic brand." And I was like, "All right, that's cool. Like, just show me what you got."
It's always funny when clerks at stores get mad that you want to buy their products.
Yeah.
Like, hey, I'd like to buy this thing and give you some money. Dude, you idiot. Like, why don't you buy this other thing? Like, I've gotten that Well, I've gotten that some at comic book stores, but I've heard other people get that a lot more at comic book shops. Like they're like, hey, do you have the latest Spider-Man? Oh, Spider-Man's been terrible lately. Like, why are you talking me out of a sale?
Yeah, I have a friend who owns a comic book store, and it's he has a love-hate relationship with his customers. But then again, I've been in there when people have come in and asked some questions or just made these the most awkward, strange conversations, and I kind of understand doing it day after day. Then I'm just like, oh my goodness.
Yeah. Like what's one of the dumber things you've heard in that setting?
There was a guy that came in that he had a subscription box, and he hadn't picked his stuff up for a while, and he shows up in his giant jacked out pickup truck and walks in with a big crystal bowl and asks to do some quote horse trading for his comics, and offers to trade this giant crystal bowl for his
what?
Does it read fortunes or anything, or not really?
No, it was like a punch bowl. Like and then there was another person that he was talking about something, like they were debating back and forth about something related to comics, and the guy was like, now I'm a musician, and the way I've always understood it is that comics go up in value. And I was just kind of like, that's not, how is that related to anything? He wanted to trade in his extreme 90s image collection that
was worth like $1 million that
Yeah,
nobody
that
else had. Yeah, absolutely.
exactly. I'm sure there are a few Death of Supermans in there, and I've got an uncle that every time I see him, he tells me he's got I've still got Death of Superman in the original plastic wrapper. I'm telling you and everyone else.
Yeah, the people are inferring that the sign above the comic shop says / pawn shop.
Exactly.
When they're bringing in crystal balls or their magic comic collection from the past. All right. Now it's a moment of truth. I have to think of something to actually draw.
You had a good idea setting out that blue line logo so that when you started to have a brain fart, you could just kind of like work on that. That was a good idea.
Yeah. And I thought it established because lettering for me, particularly digitally, the first thing I do is go cockeyed and get all angled. It's really hard for me to maintain that. So setting out those guidelines was super important. Especially this Magma Studio doesn't allow me to rotate the canvas really easily. And in Clip Studio, I rotate the canvas constantly as I'm drawing. So I'll be drawing my image upside down and or flipped even and stuff. And you can flip it in here. Let's see, I'll freak everybody out. Or did it? Oh, didn't flip for everybody else.
Didn't do it for us.
All right. Sometimes when I was with Robert Hamill, when he flipped it, it was flipping it for me too. And so all of a sudden I was having to draw backwards. I'm like, hey, Robbie, quit flipping the canvas. But apparently he's not doing it now. So, but here I'm kind of on the flat and level, and makes it extra weird to letter. Do any of you, almost, I think every one of you does your lettering by hand. Robot Fun Monster, I know you made your own font, right?
Yeah, because someone told me they couldn't read what I was writing, so I'm kind of messy. But then I just used this thing called Calligrapher on the web, and it was really good. You know, you just had to. They had these sheets of every character, like all on one page, like the whole keyboard layout, and you just had to draw in each box the letter of the alphabet or whatever symbol. And then you just scan it in and it like turns it into a font like in like 1 minute or something.
Oh, wow.
And then you can adjust it. I mean, I think it was a really small fee, like $60 for a year or something like that, or less. Because if you want, that was if you wanted to be able to access kerning or other adjustments to your font after it's made, which is really necessary because
Yeah.
I had to move the letters different heights and
Yeah, you don't want your T hanging out like half an inch past the letter C. And
it was kind of cool though. Just I don't know. There's no E at the end in the name. I don't know if anyone's planning on doing that, but it just saved a ton of time also.
oh yeah, that's the thing, making that compromise for me to go to digital, and it's getting better and better. The tools to work digital, I don't miss it with the lettering at this point. I really like the time saver of being able to just blast through it.
Well, the big thing was edits because before I would scan in my handwriting, and if I wanted to change one word, I'd have to like scan in the word or do different letters from that I already drew and just piece together the word. It was taking forever. So
I'm still in black and white here. Everybody else is rocking the color.
did everyone make a separate layer for the color?
I've
I
just
did.
been working on one layer.
Yeah, I've just
Oh,
been
okay. I made a second layer underneath the ink layer. So then it, I don't have to worry about going over the lines or when, the ink lines.
I haven't figured things out enough to do
There's
Yeah, same.
Yeah. So how have you guys been doing with the Silver Age covers?
I had great fun with mine personally. It was with some high school buddies of mine who I know they're on Instagram. We don't talk as much as we should. We're friends, but life gets in the way. I've been meaning an excuse to like do a collab art thing with them. So Team Up gave me a perfect excuse. We had a blast.
I saw that this morning. That was looking pretty cool.
Hey, thank you.
I ran and looked at their accounts too. They have some good stuff going on.
Yeah. It's they've gone in very different directions with their art, and I really like it. Like Sam does that cool black and white hardcore pen ink stuff, and Ian is sort of embracing the whole like draw pig cosmic monsters kind of thing. Like it's been fun to watch.
Yeah,
That's
I think
cool.
the first one you mentioned, I think it was almost like woodblock looking elements to
Yeah, I know what you mean. Like very strong shapes, like very defined shapes kind of thing. He sort of
Yeah.
embraces that.
I've been pretty pleased with what I had working. It's like there's never any hold on, I'm just make sure I can extend zoom here, see what I can do. I can never get enough people in that I want to support, and so I was
Yeah, same.
I got 9 in, and so I thought, oh, that's pretty good. And
Yes, I have like
there's a
so
limit.
many people I want to draw. I'm not gonna get everyone. It's
I
too
tried to
much.
pick different people's characters for the second cover. I'm definitely gonna run out if I keep doing it.
Is it okay if I draw some characters in the little squares of the film strips on
oh yeah,
your
I was gonna say I
awesome.
spaced out. Do it.
Sweet, thank you. I'm going to step away from the phone for just like 1 minute here.
In fact, that was what I was thinking would have been awesome all along, was doing some like, even just like layouts of characters hanging out and talking. Just like thumbnails.
Actually, I guess you can't type on this thing, right?
No, I haven't seen any text tools that allow us to do anything awesome with that. I bet it's coming though, because every week when John Osborne and I have been, I think maybe 4 or 5 times we've done this. Every time we log in, there's new stuff, new cool things going on with it. So they're actively building it up. It's a pretty new endeavor. So. Kevin, I love Derry's pose there with the knees kind of tucked.
Thanks. Is there an undo button? Oh, the little back arrow. There we go.
All righty.
He lives, he's back.
Good entry.
All right, so I'm going to shrink my brush down like a lot to draw within those squares, because otherwise it'll be Pac-Man. There'll be like no detail to that character. Then I guess I don't want to go too small, because when people are viewing this on YouTube, like they're not zooming in as much as we're zooming in. We're zooming in all the time. They're just going to see a flat thing. So if I draw too small, it'll just not even be that cool.
That's the huge learning curve of digital, was realizing I could put a bazillion details into a digital comic and it was going to look like garbage when I printed it out.
Oh no!
Because the resolution at which I was working, when you zoom out and think about the your typical print size, you just lose it because you can't reproduce that stuff. It's just gone. It's a wasted time, or it's a million hairpin little lines that just look like a mess of, like you've been shaving or something.
Yeah. Since a lot of the time I end up drawing like small panels, I kind of cribbed that from Frank Miller. He does a lot of like tiny panels. I'm like, I'm going to do that. Like, as I started to do that, my character designs got like simpler and simpler. Like I subconsciously make all my characters small enough that they could fit into a small panel.
But that's something I realized at my age. I'm not going to get to tell all the stories I want to tell. And so spending so much time on individual pages just means that much less of the story happens. And it made me really objectively look at, what am I doing? Worrying about how much effort I'm putting in, or how talented I am, or what my skill level is, versus the fact that I just want to tell these stories that are wanting to explode out of my head. And
absolutely,
the highest level of satisfaction comes from expressing the story. While I love a good page, I'm willing to compromise and choose expediency and simplicity to get it done and to be able to see it out there.
And your big magnum opus is like really ambitious. I mean, like I was noting the ambition of Wiltworthy in my mind before you even mentioned Galactopera. And it's like, Galactopera is part of Wiltworthy. What? Oh my God.
Well, I realized I had so many silly ideas that it would be good to just put them all into one thing. And when I realized how they could work together, I thought, well, I'm just going to do that. And everything I do should just be either a piece of fiction that exists in Wiltworthy or an actual part of Wiltworthy.
Yeah.
It just makes it all feel like I'm just working on one thing instead of jumping around.
And how do you like approaching something that ambitious that's for young adults? I mean, your readers will be younger, and you're taking them on this like journey. How does that how do you like working that way?
I think it's, to me, it's the only real draw at this point. I think things like Star Wars made me want to do that. Seeing how people grew up and didn't remember that that was made for kids, and they want to own it as an adult medium. Like the moment of Rogue One was a big motivation for me. Rogue One's awesome, but it was also this moment where all these people were saying, finally, the Star Wars movie I've been waiting for. And my response was, really, dude, that's a really good movie, but it has nothing really in common with the core value of Star Wars, which was, let's make this mythological tale, the hero's tale, happen, because there's nothing left for kids that are 12 years old and going on into adulthood like that to kind of send them into the cave and on their way. Rogue One is totally not about that, and that's cool. And I think Star Wars or any kind of pop culture thing can be many things, but there's a trend to just kind of take it and carry it with you into your whole life. And it seems like everything's doing that. And so I wanted to do the opposite. That said, I'm so wordy. And so my big problem is trying to make it simpler. And so I'm constantly looking at things and how do I cut out over half the dialogue on this page and still make it make sense because I put too much in. That kind of thing. What about everybody else? What is your target audience, or are you even thinking that far?
Yeah, I'm not sure actually. It's probably adult, I would guess.
Yeah,
the political stuff. What? Sorry.
I mean, yeah, I just mainly just draw whatever, and
it's not particularly for an audience.
Yeah, I mean, I know that, like, I know the things that I like that make me laugh, and of course they're going to influence what I do or the things I enjoy, but I don't think I've ever sat down and said, all right, I'm going to draw this specifically for people that are of this age. I mean, you can tell by looking at my stuff that it's probably skewed towards an older audience, but I don't know. I try not to make it too extreme, I guess.
Yeah,
same. For me, it's probably like not too young because I don't want to like filter my work too much, but I don't specifically think it for like some age.
Yeah. Are you ever surprised by the ages of people who check out your stuff?
I don't know the age of them, usually.
Yeah, they don't usually tell you. Well, some of them say it in their bio, I guess.
Yeah, like you can believe that because they don't even, what's the youngest age you can even get an Instagram? But
I don't know.
I get a lot of
I'd
kids
say like
accounts,
16.
and they all say they're 18, you know?
Yeah, exactly.
You look in the bio, or if you check your insights on Instagram, you look at it and like, you know, my demographics will be tons of these 20-year-olds and stuff, but I look at it and I go, I know that they were just 12 when they opened their account, and that's why it says that they're currently 18 or whatever, you know.
Yes, there is like super young people drawing though. Sometimes some kid talked to me, he was like 13 years old. He already had like a big bunch of really good drawings. It's crazy.
Oh yeah, some of them
really young.
Younger people are really good. I was wondering how old was everyone when they started doing comics?
I did my first one when I was 7.
Wow.
It's when I look back on it now, I've lost it. I don't have the original copy anymore, but it was surprisingly political. Like I was absorbing the news at the time. It was a superhero comic, but my superhero had to rescue Bill Clinton from O.J. Simpson. And like when I was a kid, I was like, yeah, this makes perfect sense. It's a scary story. Like O.J. Simpson is trying to kill the president. My superhero is going to save him. But it was like through a 7-year-old's lens, so it made no sense.
Okay. It's funny though.
That's very much a story of its time.
Indeed, indeed. I don't know what the shelf life on. I didn't know Birdman was copyrighted, so it was Birdman. I'm like, yeah, here's Birdman, like a totally different Birdman doing this insane story with O.J. Simpson. My work hasn't changed much since then. It's like
I was just riffing in my head about Nemo 3000 and Birdman.
I just got better at lettering since I was 6. That's the only like change that's happened.
So your Nemo 3000 idea was exciting when I saw that. I thought that was a really cool direction for you to go in, especially with the historical stuff that you were posting to go with it.
Yeah, thank you. I've been sorry, go ahead.
I was just setting you up. What was the impetus that got that going?
So part of it was the indie comic team up, like the 4 ages: Golden Age, Silver Age, Bronze Age, Modern Age. I was like, well, do I want to do Chaos Engine for that? Like maybe I should do something else that's just for the team up. And that just happened to be at the same time that I was working on some different side projects. Like I've been talking to PJs with Sleepy about how I want to do some Sleepwalker related stuff. And it all kind of gelled together into how can I click all these boxes? How can I explore the Sleepwalker comic the way I want to? How can I dive into comics history? And how can I do something for the team up? And it just kind of became its own thing.
So do you plan to really take it and build it up into a narrative?
Yes, absolutely. So eventually I want to do it a book that has like 4 chapters, and each chapter is the time period. Like I draw a few pages in the Golden Age, a few pages in the Silver Age. It'll be new pages that don't have people's characters in them, of course. You know, I have no right to use those, so I'll be like kind of redrawing from scratch. But that's the idea. I want to make it a book that somebody could pick up and like they like the story, but they also learn about comics history. I think that would be kind of a fun takeaway from all this.
Oh yeah, that's a good crossover of intentions and purpose. And just based on those Instagram posts. Whoa.
Yeah, sorry guys.
Just based on your Instagram posts, I can see that would be compelling.
I think I freaked everyone out by making the whole thing purple there. I got all caught up in conversation like, yeah, the other thing about me, I just ruined the whole thing. Oh, thank goodness there's a back button.
Oh yeah. It's limited. I think you get like 10 steps backward. But,
oh shoot.
Yeah. Is there a you don't know if there's a scale tool? It's like, say I lasso my drawing and I want to shrink it.
Yeah, there is. There's a if you look on the left hand, the 5th one down is a square that has corners to it.
Oy.
And anything that you highlight with that, you'll on your layer, you'll be able to mess with and scale. So the 5th one from the top on the left side.
I see it. Like it's pretty cool. But I got to do both layers. Can you lock layers so they both shrink it?
Ooh, I don't know. I think if you hit, I think on it's probably Control on a Mac. I think if you hit Control and then tap the layer, it gives you some options. I don't know if you select 2 layers, if you can merge it. That's what I would do in CSP or Photoshop. So I don't know if this is imitating that yet. I bet eventually it'll imitate it, but I don't know if it's doing it yet.
What was happening there when I made everything purple? So I'm drawing over Bradley's nice outlined film strip things. And so from my point of view, there's a big black outline right where my drawing ends. I'm like, cool, I'm going to flood fill that like back in the days with MS Paint. And like, I didn't realize it was an underlayer. So that's why everyone's drawing went purple there for a second. So sorry about
scared.
that.
Yeah, I'm hoping that there are some selection tools that come with this that are going to allow us to.
Yes, I'm missing
Yeah.
the magic wand.
Yes, I was gonna say the magic wand. Like that would be great. Hey, Jinkbeast, do you have plans to assemble all your characters into a graphic novel, or are you mostly thinking in terms of a strip that you're building?
Thinking about a graphic novel, but I don't know. I still didn't really start making the story, so I'm for the moment I'm just like drawing the characters in different situations, just kind of exploring, because I still don't feel like I have enough time to start the comic. I don't have a lot of time during the day.
So, do your characters come before your story, or vice versa?
I yes, I already imagine them like living in one same universe, and I already have like the idea of each one's personality and like kind of a backstory for each, and then I guess I'm gonna start the story from that. Hello.
Hello.
Oh, okay.
Yes. Yes.
I'm rapidly thinking in my head of a follow-up question of how to direct that into the story. So that was my silence.
I thought my headphones weren't working. But yeah, I don't know. I still didn't start making the story. I have a lot to think about.
Is it a case of like you have too many ideas of where it could go? You're like, I could do this, I could do that, or is it like too
Yes,
few?
that's spot on. I yes, I have too many ideas and I have a hard time compromising to one.
Oh yeah.
That's like the story of my life. So yeah, same with the comics, but also like I don't want to jump into doing it before thinking well about how I want to make it. So I'm taking it easy. I don't have too much time to work on it right now. So I just like trying to work on the characters first.
And I know for a long time with my Wiltworthy comic, it just kind of sat there, and then all of a sudden things clicked, and like the Yeti happened, and the mythology, the philosophy underneath it just happened. But for a long time, I anguished about it. Like it's just a comic; it doesn't mean anything. There's no purpose for why I'm writing this. It's just a gaggle of characters. And then eventually, my life synced up and gave me some experiences that made that happen. So I guess waiting for it to click is a really worthwhile thing to do. Because I'm presuming there'll be this moment where you're like, oh, that's what I was doing all along. And it just makes sense. Your life comes into its moment of synchronicity with the ideas you have.
You're giving me hope. Thanks.
We all need that, right? These
Definitely.
are pipe dreams that we have of being comic makers like that. That thing that your in-laws all look at you and go, why does he want to do that? Or why does she want to do that?
Have any of your relatives ever told you that you should work for Disney? Like that's the best way to go about being a cartoonist? Like, oh yeah, Walt Disney, he made a lot of money.
Yeah, I get told to make children's books all the time, and people have an idea that that is some amazing cash cow.
Right.
And I go, and I think it's beneficial that they think that, because it validates the person that wants to be an illustrator, even though that's really not the cash cow that they believe it to be.
Right.
Exactly.
Is there a cash cow?
I think it's in real estate, and it's in
Wait,
stock markets, and
Yeah, exactly. You gotta study economics.
yeah, the cash cow is the cash. You study the money and you do that.
I hear people with Patreon are just like banking it. They're just raking in the money. That's what I hear.
Really? I didn't hear that.
Oh, full sarcasm.
Okay.
There's an idea that once you have a Patreon, oh man, your ship is coming in, and like it's promoted by a lot of like podcasts and stuff. You can listen to a podcast and be like, yeah, I'm gonna make my fortune on Patreon, but I don't think that's the general experience.
I think if you have like a big enough following, you probably could.
Oh yeah, there's lots of really good success stories, and particularly I'm watching people that do niche things on, and they do it on YouTube, seem to be doing very, very well in that route. I don't know if indie comic makers generally fall in that category, but I don't want to speak because I don't have a lot of experience, but I can talk about my fear. And my fear is that I invest all this work in Patreon, and as soon as there's that perception of success, and I go, oh, I'm starting to make an income doing this, I can rely on this and publishing my stuff on Instagram and on the web and not on a physical book. And it's at that moment that I fear people will go, he's successful, he doesn't need this anymore. And they stop paying the Patreon, at which point you've made it just to the precipice and not to the beginning of the roller coaster. And it's all downhill from there. And so that's my big worry of investing too heavily in something that is perception based and not product based.
Yeah. I just zoomed out of my own screen to look at everybody else's drawings. Like, oh man, there's all this colorful stuff happening I didn't even see on the right side of the screen because I've been staring at the left side of the screen. Bradley, you're a trooper character, the one you're currently drawing. I apologize for not knowing his name.
Oh,
I feel like he's sort of replaced the Yeti as the character people visually associate with you. I remember just 6 months ago, whenever people did fan art for you or homages or anything, it was always the Yeti. And now I think this character is maybe, if not your new calling card, like people are having fun with it, you know?
Yeah. During all the political stuff that's been going on, it made me really change some key elements in Yeti Spaghetti. And so it was overwhelming. So I took a step back.
Yeah.
But it's really easy actually to do the Galactopera thing because it's my way of talking about, like that thing I talked about with Rogue One earlier. It's my shorthand for Star Wars and pop culture. And so it was a fun thing and a low pressure thing. So I really focused on him and Hector's experience. So I came up with this idea that what if I just do the Galactopera strips, that Dragoon Patrol thing on Instagram, and then I don't have to reshape Wiltworthy right now. And also, I always think in like these big splash pages for Wiltworthy. And so it really is hard for me to carve it up and put it on Instagram in those little tiny squares. And so thinking about Dragoon Patrol, I thought of it in squares and with that isometric layout and that. And so it's really natural and easy to just bang it out and it looks right on Instagram.
Yeah.
I feel like I was asking people to gaze through a pinhole at Wiltworthy. But here it hopefully makes sense with those characters with the big tall heads.
And you have Wiltworthy on a side website, like where it's a little bit easier to view, but it is so difficult to get people to go from social media to an actual website. It is so difficult in my experience, at least.
I've had a website for a while, like for a couple of years now, and I eventually just stopped posting to it because I don't even think I'm going to renew it actually because it just sits there.
Yeah.
It's really, looking at the stats on your WordPress can be really depressing. For me, there'll be these moments where I'm like, oh, I got 70 people showed up and took a look at my stuff today. But in general, it's 0 or 1 or 2. Nobody wants to click through.
Yeah.
At the turn of the century, like 2003, 2005, I was doing a comic new consumer model. And it was great because social media hadn't really happened yet. And so it was easy to get 500 or 5,000 people in a day coming and checking out your stuff. And that the crossover though was that people didn't have social media, but they also didn't want to buy online. And so monetization was just as hard then as it is now. But getting them to look at it on a website was easy. Now it's hard.
That's an interesting shift in like just how people use the internet. Like it's shocking how much social media is everything now.
Yeah, and scary when you see how they can turn off the hashtags on you.
Yes. Oh, that was a scary month there. I'm relieved to have them back.
Yeah, I mean, a big difference.
Yeah, not to be a wet blanket, I also realized, this is my complaining side, I went, oh, I got to sit there and come up with hashtags again. It was kind of a relief not to.
Oh,
How much benefit do you guys get from using hashtags? Like, does it significantly help you?
well,
Notice it.
used to, because like my most popular post, I checked, it's almost half non-followers. I'm like, how would have they all found me? Probably through hashtags more than stories or something. I don't know. It just seems like when they first turned them off, the number of non-followers that like my stuff went way down. But
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
I've
have
watched.
no idea of what I do with the hashtags. I just
I think
just
that's as
put
good
whatever
of a
comes to my
approach as
mind.
any. Before all of the upset of 2020, before dumpster fire 2020, the hashtags worked pretty well, and I felt like there was predictable behavior to interacting with them. But as people have gotten topsy-turvy, and I think even run away from Instagram, I think it's disrupted a lot of our places in the algorithm, or even the way the algorithm assesses us, because people all of a sudden in these crises started behaving differently towards us because they didn't have time for it, or their mood shifted. I'm pretty sure the algorithm went, oh, these guys are terrible now. They're not interested in this anymore. We devalued content in a way. And I think a lot of us are climbing out of that hole of what happened as people got stressed out.
Yeah, absolutely. I would echo that.
I should also add, we meant to go just 30 or 40 minutes, and I just got an extension. I think a notice popped up that they were extending our time, so we can continue drawing if we're enjoying it. But it's also okay if you want to be done and bang out of this.
Actually, I think I need to run actually, but this has been really fun.
Yeah, this has been a good way to do this, and so we'll have to see about doing this somewhat regularly.
I'm having a blast, and I think I can get away with about 10 more minutes.
Oh, that sounds good. Okay, I'm up for that. And we can even kind of wrap up if everybody wants to take a turn to talk about their things. I don't know, Kevin, would you be interested in, before you bang out, giving us a rundown?
This is a very
for a walk?
This is a very poorly drawn picture of Solomon and Derry sitting in a boat. Done with this program that I don't really know how to use very well. I feel like everyone's looks so much nicer than mine, but
you need to sell yourself differently. You need to go, I was really in a retro mood. I was going for an MS Paint look.
okay.
kind of thing. It's all about the upsell.
I was channeling my inner 7-year-old. I just got a new Mac 2, and I opened up the Paint program on there and used the keyboard to move the little cursor around. It just really took me back.
I got Solomon coming up in my Bronze Age page that I'm doing for next week, so I'm excited to.
Awesome! Very cool.
It was really hard to deal with him because he doesn't have hands.
Yeah.
I really wanted him to be holding a flag, so I was really working on how do I get this flagpole to look like.
I thought about that at one point, and I was like, you know what? I've seen things before where characters are not anatomically correct to the point where they'd be able to hold things, and the artist just has the object floating next to where their hand would be.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I think that's what I'm gonna do with him if I ever need him to hold something.
That's a relief because that was
Or
my
just have it,
conclusion.
yeah, just have it like sit on top of the fin.
Uh-huh.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I that's one of my problems. I think too literally. So I'm like, Kevin, you need to stop thinking so literally. This is a drawing.
Right on. Well, thanks
It's
for
been fun,
joining
guys.
us,
I hope
Kevin.
everyone has a great day.
Yeah, you too.
You too.
Good to talk to you, Kevin.
Yeah, you too. Take care.
Jink Beast, what about you? You want to break down what you got going on?
Just making a bunch of little characters, I guess.
You have a really graphic style where you bring in a lot of shapes and fill them into your the fields of the. Has that always been part of your style, or did that
Yes,
evolve?
this is basically what I started doing this doodling at class when I was a kid. So I just started like I used to fill the pages with this kind of little drawings. So what I do now is just an evolution of that, really.
Are many of your characters the same ones you were drawing in those notebooks as a kid? They've just like slightly changed.
Yes, I some of them are,
Yeah.
but some of them just like evolution kind of.
Yeah.
But yeah, I have a bunch of things that I always draw, like the teeth and the ears and stuff, and that's basically they all actually like combinations of the same thing.
One character's ear here, one character's mouth there. Oh, it's a new character.
Exactly.
Oh, Robot Fun Monster. What's you want to give us a rundown?
Okay. These are just regular characters that I draw in my strips and stuff. So yeah, I don't know what else to
Well, I need to know
say
the
about
name of the cat because I think
well, actually, right now its name is Cat, and the dog's named Dog. But
oh, that's right.
because I call it Cat meets Dog, and I'm like, and they never use each other's names, so I'm like, all right. If I
That's
ever
really good
expand
branding.
it, yeah, I don't know. If I start adding more characters, like I'm working, well, I'm always coming up with new things, but I don't publish them. But other animals, then I might have to start breaking out names and stuff.
You could do a really good like political Richard Scarry.
Well, actually, that was one of my ideas was doing an all animals strip, anthropomorphic, but they're all like senators and congressmen and stuff.
Oh man.
So like the like dogs want to veto cats or whatever. It's just it could be fun.
Let's make a deal, Busy Town. Going on. That would be
Yeah.
Yeah, I could see these big spreads where you do like this is the Senate. Look at the shady deal happening behind the pillar here and all the...
I don't know if anyone's noticed yet, but like I don't like to draw backgrounds like or furniture or machinery stuff. So I kind of avoid that and I just blow up the characters and
It's a good
I
strategy.
don't know.
It gets you there faster.
Right. Well, the thing, the words is what I care about the most. So.
Oh yeah.
And not drawing backgrounds can do surprisingly well for you on Instagram. I think a lot of us learned about comics and stuff through books, through reading what books were successful. If you wanted to be a good like book cartoonist, you needed to put backgrounds in there or you were like slacking. But the Instagram artists I see become very popular. It's like their character is the only thing. It can be on a white background and that's almost like better.
Yeah. I think it's almost people want to they come to Instagram looking for something that they can recognize in a split second. And the more detail you add, I think it puts a pressure on them to have to identify, is this cool? Do I like it? Do I process this? And they're looking for a fast processing experience. It's like Mr. Rogers always says, deep and simple will always be better than shallow and complex. But we've gone so far away from Mr. Rogers that shallow and complex is where we're at. And people want to have the complexity be a lot of information scrolling through, but they parse it in a shallow way. And so having that character just pop up on an empty background is definitive of that, where we are now, of shallow and complex. So.
Yeah. One of the more depressing things I've heard is, so, back in the 80s, there were comic strips, and you could sort of observe the number of characters in the comic strips, and the number of characters in popular comic strips kept going down, and that's okay. But now it's one character. Like, you just need one character who's really relatable for the audience. Like, oh, I hate stepping on the floor in the morning and it's cold, and you just draw that one character and don't add to that, and then you'll be successful.
That's like Kathy or Ziggy, I think, or that's maybe ahead of or behind people's time.
They were ahead of their time, yeah.
And that parallels another thing that I read, a study that looked at the change in songs, pop songs and hits, and that in the 80s and before, the predominant amount of the songs were love songs, and there was a lot of talking about you and you. I love you. I'm thinking about you. We're paired together. All these language that was bonding language. The popular pronoun now is I. I believe this. I'm here. How dare, if it's a you, it shows up in a contradictory way. You did this to me. There is a sense of self and not a sense of together that shows up in pop culture across the board. And I think that that's the same thing that you're talking about, is that one character. There's a sense of isolationism. We sound kind of funny.
Oh, that is a disturbing study, but I mean, I'm thinking of song lyrics I've remembered recently, and I could kind of see that being true. Yeah.
So if you're writing a hit, you need to write about I. If you're writing a hit comic, you only need one character. Is that what our takeaway from today?
I think so. Oh man, I wish we were ending on a less bleak note than that.
Well, we didn't get to talk about AuthorBot. We can't end quite yet. That was a good wrap up. We should have done that after this. But AuthorBot, talk about what you've got going on.
Oh, with the drawing I'm doing on the screen?
Yeah.
So up at the top, I've got sort of a New Mexican landscape kind of thing. I wanted an adobe house, atmosphere, sort of a desert landscape. And then I went into these little squares that Bradley helpfully provided in the background. And I've got a couple of my characters on the top one. And then at the bottom, I was starting to draw Batman in the bottom right-hand corner. Somehow I ended up flood filling him red, and I couldn't go back. Like it wouldn't let me do back anymore. So now he's some kind of new red. I haven't come up with a name for him yet, but he's a new character.
Amazing.
I think he has a look, actually, with the red. He looks like the in the Silver Age. Actually, Batman had that like alternate universe Batman.
Oh, that's right. The very colorful.
That's actually who I thought you were going with.
Well, Batman and the connection between Batman and the color red is sort of interesting, because like when Bob Kane first made him, before Bill Finger stepped in, he had a large amount of red on his design. I don't remember if it was his cape that was red, but there was some red in there. And Bill Finger was like, no, it's better visually if it's black, gray, yellow. And then they brought the red back for Batman Beyond. Like I remember I was a teenager watching Batman Beyond, and he came out with those like red wings behind him. I was like, are they doing Bob Kane? That's dope.
Oh yeah. I was just I realized how little of Batman Beyond I was aware of. because I was in college at the time, so I was too busy to really keep up with it.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
Yeah, I got it for myself for Christmas, so I'll be excited to actually see it, most of it, for the first time.
Oh, you got like the DVD set?
Yeah, I got the DVD set for myself, buying my own Christmas. So.
You never know. I have like fond memories of that show from when I was a teenager, and I've been watching it recently because it's tying into my own comics, and I'm like, oh, this show holds up, but I wonder if I think it holds up because I have the fond memories,
Mhm.
So I'll be eager to see if you like think it's a good show. I think it was pretty well done.
Well, I saw the Joker film. That's what got me excited. There was
Yeah.
the Joker Returns, and it was really pretty well done. I enjoyed it. I didn't guess all the beats of the story,
Oh,
and
nice.
so I went, oh, this in the modern age, it's really nice to not just read what's coming a mile away, especially in something
Right.
that's been so heavily done like Batman. So I was hoping that the series does the same thing for me, and I get to go along for a ride with it.
Yeah.
So.
The predicting the beats of a story thing, I've been thinking about that a lot with Star Wars recently, because I don't have the same enthusiasm for Star Wars that you do. I know you have gotten a ton out of that universe. You've appreciated a lot, and I think part of it isn't Star Wars' fault. It's how many people have copied Star Wars. Like it was originally like, hey, let's do the hero's journey, but let's do it in space and it'll hit all those notes. And it was like very effective. And then tons and tons of artists and movie studios were like, oh yeah, let's just copy the hero's journey. And it became like repetitive. It lost its magic.
Oh yeah. Even in the late 70s, early 80s, there were all those clones that came out. Amazon has acquired all these junky sci-fi films from the 80s, and I tried rewatching some of them with my son, because he's always up for watching old sci-fi stuff with me. And we got out one that was Battle Beyond the Stars, I think it's called, and it has John Boy from the Waltons in it, and you're watching it just go through beat by beat, and it's so cringy. But I remember even being cool with it as a kid at the drive-in. But we're so done with just seeing Star Wars get rehashed. I think that's why kind of in the end, it maybe was a bit of a folly to make the sequels just a largely a do-over. Right. It was magical. It was successful. It was comfortable, but it was something we've all seen before.
Yeah, absolutely.
So we think we're ready to wrap up at this point. We get a little end note, an end cap to it. So,
hey, do you know why, like in the software, all the colors are filled in, but on the Zoom thing, it's like big pieces of white?
Yeah, sometimes it glitches, and if you log back out, or if you close the layer and bring it back, it automatically pops back. I'm running this on 2 different screens right now, and I have a different view. So on the screen I'm actually drawing on, your colors are all there. And on the screen I'm recording on right now, the colors are not. I don't understand it, but I when I use it as a background for the video, I'll definitely use the one I have on my draw screen, which has all the colors. But I can't even explain it. I'm thinking in the next few months, as this software keeps changing, hopefully that kind of stuff will go away.
I think it might be because I was using the fill tool on some of it. Like I would draw the outline of color and then fill, but that's where it seems to be. I don't know.
Maybe the fill tool is super glitchy.
Yeah, I was having some issues with the fill tool as well.
Okay, so I'll go ahead and I'll wrap it. I'm going to stop recording, but we don't have to stop drawing at this point. So I'll just say we're members of the Indie Comic Union. We've been using the Magma Studio software to put together this drawing. to celebrate the second weekend of the Indie Comic Team Up. This would be our Silver Age edition. I've been able to have the pleasure of working with Kevin Curley, who does Buckets of Size and the Authorbot, and Robot Fun Monster and Jink Beast, as well as myself, the Seahorsey. Thanks for viewing.
Thanks.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, guys.